we communicate directly and openly, but politics can have a direct effect actually in how things are happening. I would say, I don't know, there are gray areas that some people have more difficulty working on, but there are definitely areas that we should be working no matter what. Yes, it's a huge challenge actually, because it's implicit in everything we do.
How is the geopolitical tension affecting S&T policy development? For example, in Australia, sometimes we now hear the phrase technology Cold War. So I'm just wondering, geopolitical tensions.
A lot, unfortunately, a lot. And you know, in the academic world, and also in the TA world, which is in between, let's say, policy and academia, we have a little bit our own world, let's say. So we communicate directly and openly, and we do not experience conflicts between our peers, let's say, around the world. So as you know, as well, you know, normally also academic, they have their conferences, they do their own projects, they produce their publications, and it normally runs smoothly, apart from some kind of cultural, let's say, you know, misunderstandings or whatever that might happen. But politics can have a direct effect actually in how things are happening. For instance, the Cold War, let's say, between China and the US, that was really accentuating with previous administration. We all know very well the Trump administration, the review of China, whatever. It had a really direct effect, from what I know in our Chinese colleagues, because actually they stopped getting visa even to go to the United States. It became really difficult to get a visa. Then there was some kind of retaliation, if you like, from the Chinese government. So the visas became difficult also on the other side. Then we see more and more the politicization of some technologies. I mean, some technologies are by default, of course, politicized. I mean, you can imagine that any kind of military sensitive technology is, of course, politicized. And I understand that, and I respect that. You know, so you cannot pretend to be to have any kind of open access, I don't know, open science, open innovation type of approach when it comes to military sensitive technologies. That's fine. That they should remain under the nation states and strictly, let's say, controlled by it. But now we have artificial intelligence, for instance. That artificial intelligence is, okay, it's an umbrella type of term that includes almost everything, but it has such a powerful implications for, let's say, development, trade development, and economic implications, that it has become quite politicized as well. So nowadays, even the word AI is a kind of nationally sensitive word. And one has to treat carefully in the global, international, let's say, collaborations around AI, simply because some politicians around the world, they have politicized AI, which I disagree, by the way, because you cannot just politicize something which AI, which is a very general term, but it has been done basically. So yes, politics play, unfortunately, a direct, have a direct implications in our work. So we always have to be aware and treat carefully.
Are there practical ways to navigate that challenge? Because obviously technologies that can have the biggest impact can also solve the biggest problems.
Of course.
So is it a matter of waiting for the election cycle, or are there practical ways to navigate issues?
We can't do that. We cannot just wait and hope. We don't have a lot of time to wait. As you know, and I think as we all know, more or less, deep inside, we cannot wait much longer. Things are changing, sometimes in a dramatic way, and okay, climate is the most obvious way, but You see now what happens with the pandemic. You cannot have politics stopping, let's say, a solution to the pandemic, whether that's a vaccine, whether it's a treatment or whatever. But unfortunately, even politics even played a role there. But what I meant to say that if there is a practical way to navigate through that, let's say, maze, is for me it's the most simple way. It's being open about it. So being open about what to do, why you do it, and you hope that people will understand and they will, let's say, respect that. And I think they do, to be honest. As I said, there is no reason why we should be doing, I don't know, drone technology, military drone technology together. Why should we do that? No, there is no reason. But there is definitely big reason to do work on, let's say, vaccine development or life science data exchange, for instance. We have big reasons to do that. Or the same with, of course, sustainable energy resources, like how we can develop, in a common resources. I would say, I don't know, there are gray areas that some people have more difficulty working on, but there are definitely areas that we should be working no matter what, no matter if people hate each other, if geopolitics is very strong, but still, it's a pandemic. We have to deal with that commonly. That's it.
Would it be too dramatic to say politics is also a grand challenge then?
Yes, tell that to the UN. Yeah. Yes, it's a huge challenge. Actually, it's a huge challenge for these grand social challenges that we are faced with. Perhaps the biggest is actually politics, or if you like, governance.
Right.
Because it's implicit in everything we do. So if you want to have you have common problems, if you want to have common solutions, you need the common governance, right? And we don't have that. Supposedly, of course, we have the UN, you have the plenary, you have the member states, but we know very well that the UN system, it does not work well for a common. And I don't even know actually what is the best way to go about it. But as it is at the moment, is not helpful,
right,
to deal with our common problem. So governance is by far the biggest challenge that we're faced with.